Hey everyone, before we dive into this story, don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more gripping tales like this one. Clear out your desk, you're done. My brother Marcus declared loudly, his voice bouncing off the sleek glass walls of our 20th floor office, silencing the entire marketing team. The 32 staff members at Thompson Digital stopped dead in their tracks as he went on. Family ties only get you so far, Diane, and you've been riding our last name for too long. What Marcus didn't know, what he never cared to find out in his 5 years as CEO, was that our family name was on the building's lease because I'd been the one signing it for the past 10 years. I'll be gone by noon, I replied coolly, already mapping out in my head what would unfold at 2 p.m. when building management got my call. At least you're finally acting like a professional, Marcus sneered, smoothing out the tailored Italian suit he'd splurged on with the bonus from our last successful quarter. A quarter driven by 3 major clients I'd personally brought in. Maybe getting sacked will show you the world doesn't care that we shared a sandbox as kids. The sandbox jab hurt more than the firing itself. Marcus loved to remind everyone we grew up side by side that he was 18 months older, the responsible one, while I was the creative type who supposedly needed constant oversight. Never mind that I'd joined Thompson Digital straight out of college, climbing from intern to director of strategic partnerships, or that I'd been pivotal in turning Dad's modest print ad business into a digital juggernaut. Marcus waved off Jennifer from HR as she stepped forward, looking uneasy. Shouldn't this be handled in private, she asked. No, he snapped, clearly relishing the spotlight. Diane needs to learn that being family doesn't mean a free pass. He added, I've been carrying her for 8 years. Time for some tough love. Carrying me? I held back a retort, thinking of the $2.3 million Morrison Industries deal I'd closed last month, or the $1.8 million Westfield Group contract I'd secured, not to mention the dozen other accounts that came to us because of relationships I'd built. But arguing would only drag out this public shaming. You're right, I said, rising from my chair. Families shouldn't guarantee a job. Results should stand on their own. Exactly, Marcus shot back. And your results? Average at best. You've been skating by on connections, not performance. A few employees shifted awkwardly. They knew the truth. My relationships accounted for 65% of the company's revenue last year. But Marcus had painted himself as the decisive leader making tough calls, and no one dared risk their job to back me up. I packed deliberately. The photo of Dad and me from the company's founding, my stack of industry awards, dismissed by Marcus as participation trophies, and the tiny cactus our receptionist gifted me 5 years ago, miraculously still alive despite my lack of a green thumb. Leave the laptop, Marcus ordered. It's company property. Of course, I said, though that laptop held 5 years of my contacts, strategies, and proposals, all safely backed up on my personal cloud. A detail he didn't need to know. And your key card, parking pass, and he paused for effect, the executive bathroom keys. Family perks are officially over. A few nervous chuckles rippled through the room. Marcus had always hated that Dad gave us equal access to executive privileges despite his higher rank. Now he could finally flex his authority. I handed everything over, glancing at the clock. 11:47 a.m. In 2 hours and 13 minutes, Marcus would discover exactly what he'd just let go. Anything else? I asked. Yeah, don't list me as a reference, he said. Want to play in the real world? Start fresh. See how far the Thompson name takes you without me. Got it. I asked, can I say goodbye to the team? He hesitated, calculating how it would look. 5 minutes. Keep it professional. I moved through the office, shaking hands, sharing quick hugs with a few brave souls who defied Marcus's glare to show support. At the reception desk, I paused by Gladys, who'd been with the company since Dad's days and had watched Marcus and me grow from teens loitering in the office to executives. This is wrong, she whispered fiercely. Your father would be furious. Dad always said the company's fate depends on its decisions, I replied carefully. Guess we're about to see if that's true. I exited through the main lobby, taking in the building's features I'd come to cherish, the Art Deco trim, the polished brass elevators, the marble floors I'd insisted on during the last renovation. My phone buzzed as I hit the street, a text from Patricia, our CFO. This is crazy. He can't run this place without you. He's about to try, I texted back. I headed to my favorite cafe nearby. Not to sulk, but to wait. At 1:55 p.m., I dialed George, my contact at the building management company I'd worked with for a decade. Diane, always a pleasure, he said. What's up with the new tenant situation? George, I need to trigger the 30-day termination clause for Thompson Digital's lease. A pause. But they've been great tenants. Is something wrong? Let's just say a shift in our business dynamic makes their stay untenable. I see. Effective when? Immediately. But I'll give them until end of day to start packing. I'm not cruel. Such a shame, George said. 10 years since your father signed that lease, right? Actually, George, Dad never signed it. I did, through Cornerstone Holdings, LLC. Another pause. But Marcus always implied. Marcus implies a lot. Please send the notice directly to him, not through reception. At 2:03 p.m., my phone blew up. Marcus called. I let it ring. Patricia texted in a panic. Jennifer from HR pleaded for a callback. Employees sent messages of shock, confusion, and support. At 2:17 p.m., Marcus left a voicemail. Diane, what the hell? This is illegal. You can't kick us out of our own building. Our building? Still clinging to his version of reality. At 2:32 p.m., I picked up his 15th call. You evicted the company, he shouted. From Dad's building. First, calm down. Second, it's not Dad's building. It never was. I bought it through Cornerstone Holdings when the last owner went bankrupt in 2014. You were too busy playing CEO to notice. That's impossible. The lease payments go to Thompson Digital, which then pays Cornerstone Holdings, my company. I've been paying myself rent for 10 years. It's a tax-smart setup that kept the building separate from the business. Dad knew. He helped set it up. Said it was wise to keep real estate distinct from operations. You'd know if you ever asked about anything beyond your title. Silence. I could almost hear his world crumbling. The board will sue, he said finally. For what? Not renewing a lease? That's my right as the property owner. The 30-day notice is a courtesy. The lease allows immediate termination for certain breaches. What breaches? Like firing the person who personally guaranteed the lease terms, the build-out costs, and the discounted rent rate Thompson Digital's been getting. You've been sabotaging us. I've been subsidizing you, I snapped, anger finally breaking through. Market rent for that space is $75 per square foot. You've been paying $40. That's $2.3 million in lost revenue over a decade. My gift to the family business. If you own the building, why didn't you say so? Would it have changed anything? Would you have respected me more? Or just found another way to call it nepotism, like I was using Dad's money to buy clout? He had no response. Besides, I went on. I wanted to be valued for my work, not my property. My mistake, thinking you'd ever see past your ego. Diane, please, we can fix this. The company needs that space. Our clients expect it. Your clients, your company, your problem. You made it clear this morning that family means nothing in business. I'm just following your example. Where are we supposed to go? Wherever businesses go when they can't afford prime real estate. Try the suburbs. Heard there are some decent industrial parks. This will ruin Thompson Digital. Is that what you want? I paused, thinking of what I really wanted. A brother who saw my worth, who treated me as a partner, not a rival. We could have fixed this, I said. But you chose to make it your problem. I was fired, remember? Time to update my LinkedIn. I hung up and blocked his number. Other calls flooded in, but I ignored them. Instead, I returned to my building, taking the elevator to the management office on the second floor. Ms. Morrison, the security chief, greeted me. Heard there might be some trouble later. Thompson Digital will be vacating. They might push back. Follow standard protocols. No violence, but no exceptions. They have until 6 p.m. to start moving out. Understood, ma'am. I spent the afternoon in my real office, a private suite on the 30th floor I'd kept under wraps for years. From there, I watched the 20th floor descend into chaos. Employees packing in a frenzy, Marcus flailing on phone calls, moving trucks being scrambled. Patricia called from her personal phone. Diane, I get you're upset, but please rethink this. We have client meetings, presentations, the whole workflow. Patricia, I offered a smooth exit. Marcus chose a public firing. Actions have consequences. But the employees? They'll be fine. Other agencies in the building are interested. I've already waived security deposits for any firm hiring Thompson Digital staff. Peters and Associates is eyeing that development team Marcus just alienated. You planned this. I prepared for this. Big difference. 10 years of contingencies, hoping I'd never need them. By 5 p.m., the evacuation was in full swing. Gladys called, laughing through tears. You should see Marcus trying to manage this. He doesn't even know where the moving supplies are. Because I always handle logistics, I said. Just like I manage facilities, vendors, maintenance, all the details he never bothered with. Where will you go now? She asked. I've got space ready. Morrison Strategic Consulting will be on the 31st floor. Been renovating it for months. Your own firm? In the same building. My building, my rules. Plus, the Morrison Industries account follows me. It's in my contract. Westfield, too. A few others are already reaching out. Gladys, I'll need an office manager. Same salary plus 20%. You in? She choked up. Your father would be so proud. By 6 p.m., Thompson Digital was officially without a home. Marcus made one last attempt, showing up at my 30th floor office with the remaining board members. You can't do this, Board Chairman William Hayes said sternly. This is corporate sabotage. This is property management, I corrected. I gave you below market rent for years out of loyalty. That loyalty ended at 11:47 a.m. when Marcus fired me for nepotism. Well, Sue, go ahead. I'd love for Discovery to show how much of Thompson Digital's success came from my deals, my relationships, my strategies, all while I was paid 30% below market for my role. They exchanged uneasy looks. They knew I was right. Marcus stepped forward. Diane, I'm sorry. I let my ego take over. You're my sister. We can fix this. We could have fixed it any time in the last 8 years when you took credit for the Morrison deal, skewed bonuses to your pals, or edged me out of planning. I gave you countless chances to treat me as an equal. I see that now, he said. Because I own the building, not because you value me. Because I have something you need. That's not fair. Fair? I laughed. Was it fair when you said at last year's Christmas party that I only had a job because Dad pitted me? Or when you told the board I was aging out at 35? Or this morning, humiliating me in front of my team? He stared at his $2,000 Italian. Shoes, billed to the company. Here's what happens next, I said. You'll find new space. You'll struggle without my accounts, but maybe you'll survive. Maybe you'll learn something. But you'll do it without my building or my connections. If we fail, you'll know what it's like to have your career wrecked by family, he said. They left defeated. Within a month, Thompson Digital relocated to a suburban office park, lost 60% of its clients, and cut half its staff. Marcus left voicemails about reconciliation, Dad's legacy, family duty. I never replied. Morrison Strategic Consulting launched with 15 former Thompson Digital employees and 3 major accounts. Within 6 months, we were outbilling Thompson Digital's peak. Turns out, cutting out nepotism boosted performance, just not how Marcus expected. The 20th floor was vacant for just a week before I leased it to a women-owned startup at true market rate, not the family discount Marcus had. Why help them? Gladys asked. You don't even know them. Because they'll value it, I said. Success is great revenge, but helping others succeed? That's redemption. A year later, at an industry awards dinner, I saw Marcus. He looked thinner, older, in a nice but not designer suit. Diane, he said quietly, congrats on the Innovation Award. Thanks. Heard Morrison Strategic is thriving. We're doing all right. I was wrong, he admitted. About everything. You weren't the nepotism hire, I was. You didn't need to learn about the real world, I did. And have you? Yeah, learn the person I called a nepotism hire was the foundation of it all. Learned family business means nothing without respect. Learned owning the building is just a symbol of knowing your worth. It was the most self-awareness he'd ever shown. How's Thompson Digital? I asked, hanging on. Small regional accounts now. I actually have to pitch for business instead of relying on you. I'm getting decent at it. He gave a wry smile. Growth comes from struggle. Diane, I know I don't deserve it, but could we grab coffee sometime? Not as colleagues, just as siblings trying to start over. I studied him, seeing him clearly for the first time in years. The arrogance was gone, maybe replaced by humility. Maybe, I said, but not in my building. Neutral ground. Fair enough. And Diane, firing you was the dumbest thing I've ever done. Not because of the building or the clients, because I lost my sister over my ego. I nodded and walked away, letting him sit with that. Some bridges can be rebuilt, but they're never as sturdy. My building towers over the city skyline, Thomson Digital's old logo long gone. In its place, a dozen small businesses thrive, paying fair rent to a landlord who values respect. On the 30th floor, Morrison Strategic Consulting keeps growing, built on skill, not entitlement. The view up here is stunning, especially when you own the whole damn building. The best response to clear out your desk isn't revenge or reunion, it's realization. The realization that you never needed that office to begin with,